Hey study buddies, so today what we're going to be looking at is the law of diminishing marginal utility as well as the utility maximizing rule. So recall that utility basically means the satisfaction that you gain from consuming a product. So in this case, the law of diminishing marginal utility states that consumers' marginal utility declines as more product is consumed. So here we have a graph of total utility. So this is saying, okay, the more products we consume, the more our total utility. Marginal utility is the utility you gain from the addition of one more product that you consume. So in this case, as we add more products, our utility decreases. And we'll see how it looks in our chart, so it's a little bit more clear. But that's the main thing you should take away, that marginal utility will decrease. And why does that make sense? Well, you could think about it like this. Like if you have a bunch of hamburgers, right? Well, I'm eating that hamburger, I get satisfied. Then second hamburger I eat, it's not going to be as satisfying as the first. And then the third is definitely not going to be as satisfying as the second or the first. So that's essentially showing you that marginal utility declines as more product is consumed. Whereas your total utility is still going to be high because you're adding on, but marginal utility will decline. So let's take a look at the utility maximizing rule before we move on to our chart. This is straightforward. It's just the marginal utility per dollar of good X is equal to the marginal utility per dollar of good Y. And so essentially what you should take away from the utility maximizing rule is that consumers should reach the same marginal utility per dollar for all products consumed in order to maximize utility. So you just want to get the same marginal utility per dollar of that product for every single product that you consume. So let's take a look at this example. It says use a budget constraint of $13 to determine the quantities to be purchased of good X and good Y in order to maximize utility. So first, let's start off by filling in our chart, okay? So let's fill in our chart for good X. So we're given the quantities, total utility, and we need to find marginal utility and then marginal utility per dollar. So how do we figure out marginal utility? Essentially what you do is for this one, we're going to do 15 minus 0 over 1 minus 0. So you are just going to get 15. Over here, you're going to do 25 minus 15 over 2 minus 1, which is just 1. So 25 minus 15 is 10 over 1, so you get 10. And then same thing here, 31 minus 25 over 3 minus 2, and you get 6. And try out the last one on your own, you should get 3. Okay? Then to figure out your marginal utility per dollar, we're just going to take this value and divide it by how much good X is. And so we would do 15 divided by 3, which is 5. 10 divided by 3, which is about 3.33. 6 divided by 3, which is 2, and 3 divided by 3, which is 1. So we filled out that one. Try filling out this chart on your own, good Y. I'm going to fill it out right now. So essentially, I did the same thing. I just did 16 minus 0, 26 minus 16, 28 minus 26, you get that. 30 minus 28, you get 2 again. Okay? Same idea there. Now, we're trying to figure out what is our utility maximizing point. How much of good X and good Y do we have to buy to maximize our utility? So we have to look at the marginal utility per dollar, and we have to see when are they the same. Well, we actually have two scenarios when they're the same, right? We have 2 here, and 2 here. But our budget constraint is giving us $13, so we can actually lower our options, right? And choose one of these options in which we're spending all our money to. We're spending our budget. And so if we took a look at buying 3 of good Y, we're going to have 3 times $1, which is $3. And then we're only buying 3 of good X, So 3 times $3, which is $9. So you would essentially get 9 plus 3, which is 12. So that wouldn't work. So this option would give you $12, right? Doing this over here, quantity 3, and this quantity 3 as well. So let's try quantity of 4. So if we chose this quantity, then we would have 4 times that $1 plus our 3 of good X times $3. And you get your budget constraint, which is $13. So now you know that purchasing 4 of good Y and 3 of good X will satisfy your maximum utility. So that is what the answer to this question is, essentially. Okay, let's take a look at our final example. This one is like one of more thinking type of question. So the marginal utility of good X is 40 and the price is 10. The marginal utility of Y is 20 and the price is 2. What can be done to maximize utility? So first, let's figure out the values of each. So marginal utility of X over price of X equals marginal utility of Y over price over Y. So we have 40 over 10 equals 20 over 2. And so you get 10. Okay, sorry. So here we have our here we have our marginal utility per dollar of X equaling the marginal utility per dollar of Y, but we can see clearly that they're not equal. This one is less than this one, right? So your marginal utility per dollar of good X is less than your marginal utility per dollar of good Y. So how can we fix this? Well, we can actually buy more of good Y. And why does that make sense? Well, if we take a look back at our law of diminishing marginal utility, we know that the more you purchase, the lower your utility, right? So if we buy more, well, our marginal utility per dollar is going to decrease since our marginal utility is decreasing. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.